Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Gian Firdaus, the Master of Ceremony for today's event. Today, we gather for the International Guest Lecture, Research Meeting and Cleaning Manuscript, which will be held at State University of Surabaya. May this event be beneficial and inspiring for all of us. To commence today's event, let us stand and sing our national anthem, Indonesia Raya, and Unesa hymn, which will be led by our committee. Please, the participant and distinguished guests for standing.
Universitas Negeri Surabaya mengembangkan ilmu berwawasan budaya dengan rasa cinta karya dan doa dalam semangat menyala. Melangkahlah Unesa menyiapkan tenaga untuk Indonesia nan jaya.
May our participant and distinguished guests to sit down. Ladies and gentlemen, after singing the today's song, then may I to outline to the today's agenda. First, A welcome address by Rector of UNESA, which will be represented by UNESA third Vice Rector, then the main program, and finally a group photo session. Then, we invite our Honorable Dr. Bambang Sigit Widodo MPD, Vice Rector Research Innovation Ranking Scientific Publication and the Science Center UNESA to deliver his speech. Dr. Bambang, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone, selamat pagi. Distinguished guests, esteemed faculty members, students, and our honored speaker. On behalf of the Rector of Universitas Negeri Surabaya, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you to this insightful guest lecture on food security. Supply chains in Industry 5.0. In today's rapidly evolving world, technological advancement are transforming the way we produce, distribute, and secure our food systems. The need for innovation and sustainability in supply chains is more pressing than ever, and his session promises to shed light on the opportunities and challenges ahead. We are honored to have Associate Professor Feriji. Thank you for your coming here. A renowned expert in supply chains and logistics management from Edith Cowan University, Australia, with us today. His expertise will provide valuable insights into how food supply chain revolutionize to ensure efficiency, resilience, and equitable distribution. Universitas Negeri Surabaya is firmly committed to fostering discussion that bridge academia, industry, and societal needs. This international guest lecture reflects our dedication to preparing future leaders who will shape a more sustainable and secure food ecosystems. Thank you for joining us. I encourage everyone to engage, learn, and contribute to this important discussion. Without further ado, let's the lecture is begin. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Those were the opening speech. The next agenda is a guest lecture by Associate Professor Feriji from the Edith Cowan University, Australia. He will deliver a lecture entitled Food Security Supply Chain and in Industry 5.0. The program will be moderated by Mr. Amiru Solihin, MSA. May I invite Mr. Solihin, our moderator, to come forward and present our today's guest lecture.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. I hope you are doing well today, and it's my pleasure and honor to welcome you today in the guest lecture session. My name is Amiru Solihin, and I will be a moderator in this event. And we are very fortunate to have a distinguished guest, Mr. Ferry, who have kindly taken time to share knowledge and insight with us. And please welcome Mr. Ferry. Okay, this is a valuable opportunity to us to gain the deeper understanding and it's the discussion with someone brings academic and practical experience. And this is a biographical of Mr. Ferry. He is a associate professor, School of Business and Law, Edith Cowan University. Okay, give applause, Mr. Ferry. And Mr. Ferry have a more than 21 journal in Huan. Uh, so it's the very good case. And before we begin, I can remind everyone to stay focused and respectful. Mr. Ferry will share with us about a halal food supply chains. And feel free to take notes and prepare any question you for a Q&A session after the lecturer. For Mr. Ferry, this time is yours.
Much. Okay, good morning everyone and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So first, thank you. First of all, I would like to say thank you so much UNESA to invite me to be a guest lecturer. Okay. So my name is Ferry G. So as the moderator has introduced me, I can speak Bahasa, but I was born in South Sumatra. I grew up in Singapore and I live in Australia, so more than 25 years. So my research project in about supply chain and logistics management. So today is an honor to be here in Surabaya, especially to visit UNESA and to share my knowledge and to support all of you when you do your research and you want to publish your paper, your research in a high quality journal. So it will be in the afternoon, and in the afternoon we have a meeting for research meeting. So this morning I would like to talk about the food supply chain. There are three things I would like to explain in the area of the food itself, for the food supply chain. So we need to understand what the supply chain. And then we need to understand what era we are currently now. We are in the Industry 5.0. So Japan introduced the Supply Chain Society 5.0. And then we need to learn about halal food supply chains. It's very popular in Indonesia, Malaysia, and some other Middle East countries, even in Australia, for the food supply chain. And then, as you know, food security is the next step for the research opportunity. So give applause to UNESA. You have the new faculty. Ketahanan pangan, it's so good to have this. Especially Australia, we don't have that, right? The faculty. So this is a very good for, especially for in the world, right? I mentioned to Pak Bambang, very good to have this. So I'm so happy to be in Surabaya. The first university UNESA invite me. So that's very good, right? So today, this is my email and also my WhatsApp. So anyone, maybe the lecturer want to connect, start collaboration, writing paper, applying grants, and please reach out me through WhatsApps, yeah? That's WhatsApp 61 is the Australia code. I know Indonesia plus 62, right? So 61. Now next slide. This is about me. I'm a chair of the students committee within university. So busy because we have more than like 14,000 for this year student, and including we have 3 campuses and one will be city campus start next year in 2026. I think Pak Bambang and Prof also look at city campus. So next year Pak Bambang will come and the city campus is already there, right? Now, this is my profile. Next slide. Next slide, I want to show you, this is my project, Pak Bambang, for my grants. The first project is about supply chain disruption. Okay, and this project is until next year, 2026. So still data collection, still in the second stage of the research project about the supply chain risks. And the second one about digital competencies framework for Australia Energy. So Australia Energy, we have several like origin, like here we call PLN, right? So energy, perusahaan listrik, right? And then that's my second project. It's already completed last year. And the third project is a post-COVID-19 and already finished. So this project already completed. I published already in the papers in Q1 and Q2, right? So we focus high quality output. When you do your research, make sure you can produce high quality journal, right? Articles. Next slide. Okay, so if slide berikutnya. So if you look at the introduction, we are in the Industry 5.0, which is the 2025 beyond, right? So if you look at the industry revolution, back then in first industrial revolution in 18th century, so 1850. So start with the craft production, job shops, the first factory starting there in the early of the second industrial revolution, and that is electrical energy based mass production, right? And then on the third of the industrial revolution, that's just Toyota, for example, like just in time, and we have the lean manufacturing or mass production. So this is the 1980, 1910 to 1980. So on the third industrial revolution, right? And then in early 2010, so pretty much 15 years ago, Industry 4. That's why we have Internet of Things, internet-based research. So if you look at Internet of Things, cyber, digital platform, product service system network, everything start with the smart manufacturing, smart agriculture, yeah? In 2010. But now in 2025, we are in the Industry 5. We are in a digital era, yeah? Meaning that 2025, beyond, we have sustainable systems, resilience, and then human-centric. The good news is, Industry 5.0, we cannot rely on the full digital or technology itself. We need to rely on the human-centric still, yeah? The human-centric still there. But Industry 4, people focus the Internet of Things, cyber, robotic. But the good news, Industry 5, they still acknowledge people or human-centric. So can I just give you example, like a lot of industry in Australia, for example, for the food and beverages, like, Coca-Cola Amatil, right? Beef or kangaroo? We talk about food security. Now they introduce the Food Supply Chain Society 5, meaning they introduce technology than human-centric, human intervention, as well as sustainability. Sustainability is a one domain in Industry 5.0. Industry 4, they're not focusing much about sustainability. Sustainability? In Australia, they introduce electric vehicles. Same in Indonesia, yes? So people purchase the electric vehicle, the government give you support, right? For example, you purchase BYD or Tesla, the government can give you back $3,500 because it's electric vehicle. So my wife just purchased Tesla just a few months ago. And I said, now we got problem in Australia because the problem with the charging station. The charging station, if you drive, I said, look, the camera show is 11% the battery. You drive to the 121 kilometers, it's gonna be stopped somewhere in the middle, in the jungle. So I cannot push the Tesla. It's too heavy for me. You know what I mean? So that's quite tricky. For fuel station, no problem. Yeah, you know filling station, fuel station, no problem. Now in Australia, it's a certain location they have a charging station. So you have to think about it when you drive. Look at the battery. The same when you got mobile phone. Yeah, you got your mobile phone. Hi, yeah, my mobile phone is a 2% and 3%, and then so many watch apps. Yeah, Telegram and this and that. You know, and suddenly lost connection. Yes. The same with electric vehicle, unfortunately. Now, the next my project, trying to have a plan for the charging station, the supply chain infrastructure for the electric vehicle for the charging station in Australia. Because in a certain shopping center, if we have high demand, you only have 2 ports for the charging. How many cars they waiting? You with me? It's not supercharging. It's not super fast. It will take, even like you got Samsung, from 2% until 100%, how many hours? More than that. What about the other car waiting? The other car waiting is going to be like Mogok, you know? Because what happened? Because the battery is dead. Yeah? It's very dangerous. And in my university, we provide the charging station, but students also having the electric vehicle, staff also the same. So what happened? I said to my darling, you only can come early in the morning and nobody there. Or maybe you can come very late. Now what happened if order, you know, of order, rusak? That's another issue, isn't it? Where you need to go, you need to check your Google map. The Google map must be up to date, isn't it? Where is the nearest location of the charging station? Now, this is, we talk about introduction. Next slide, please. Slide berikutnya. So, Society 5 concept is originally initiating in Japan, envisioning highly connected technology. The still connected technology is number one. Number two, driven society, because of Society 5 still having human intervention, human interaction, integrate physical and digital world seamlessly. So I like the word digital instead of smart. Yes, because smart actually is many years ago already, 15 years ago. Just before COVID, a lot of people using smart, but now it's digital, connected technology, human intercentric. Now Society 5 there. What about supply chain? Supply chain, if we look at the historical of supply chain was born pretty much 35 years ago. Now it's 35 years now for supply chain, because it was born in early 1990s. Yeah? Supply chain was born in early 1990s. Before that is logistics. That's integrated logistics. Integrated logistics is 1980. Pretty much is purchasing materials and then physical distribution. Now back then is early 1960. The organization as enterprise has demand, inventory, production, manufacturing, warehouse, packaging, order processing, transportation, information, marketing, and finance. So 1960s already there. So 20 years later, it has the logistic. So logistic coming first. So please do not say that logistic is the same as supply chain. Logistic is a part of supply chain. So supply chain was born in 1990s. It's 35 years old. Okay, next slide. So supply chain. So most of you know in this room, right? Supply chain is the planning, management of all activity involved with sourcing, procurement, conversion, and all logistic management activity include coordination. Because supply chain, you cannot work by yourself, so it needs to be coordinated. with all partners. Partners could be suppliers. In Bahasa, we call pemasok, suppliers. And then you can have intermediaries or maybe transportation companies or food processing or food manufacturing companies. And third-party providers. Some company, in majority in Australia, more than 71%, the company, they don't have warehouse. Majority, they use third-party. We rent the warehouse because the building itself is very expensive in Australia. So basically, they don't have warehouse. They work with the partner, with the third-party logistic provider, and then we rent the warehouse. We rent the storage. Some company, they don't have truck. They have their own factory. They use transport companies to distribute, to transport from one place to the final destination. You with me? So it's completely different in Indonesia. Some company in Indonesia, you have truck and you have your own factory, right? And then you have your own warehouse, yes. But in Australia, more than 3/4, they need to work, coordinate with partners, logistic providers, which provide the warehouse, storage, transportation equipment, material handling equipment, etc. So this is based on Council of Supply Chain Management Professional in United States. So Institute of Supply for Supply in Texas, Association for Operation Management is in United States. So those three definitions, they are similar about supply chain and management. In Bahasa Indonesia, rantai pasok, yeah? Next slide. So if you look at slide berikutnya, next slide. Thank you. Okay, so can you click, please? Just press, click. The first, I give you example supply chain structure for cereal, which is food. You know, you like breakfast in the morning. You've got your cereal, Kellogg, Nestle, and then can you click cereal and please click because it's the animation slide. Bisa press, klik. Thank you. Atau kalau ada clicker, saya bisa pinjam clickernya deh, lebih gampang. Thank you. All right, so you click this. We have upstream and we got downstream, yeah? So upstream, you got first tier, second tier, third tier. So you know in the upstream, pemasok, you have what we call oil company, forest, and the first tier. So downstream, we have the grocery, retail, and consumer. So supply chains for food itself is very complex. When I did project my doctorate degree, beef supply chain, I was supervising my doctorate student about halal beef, halal food supply chain from UITM, from University Muhammadiyah Malang. So Pak Ilyas already completed 10 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago. He's now is the dean there. They did a lot of research about that. So I'm supervising so many doctorate students, they already completed. It's amazing. Now, if you look at food supply chain, you look at upstream, you look at downstream supply chain. Downstream supply chain, you sell the food to the consumer, right? You have retail, you got grocery, you got all the product and services moving from upstream to downstream, including information and planning. Now, for the upstream, you also have forests, yeah? So you got first tier, second tier, and the third tier. So depends on how complex. About food security. Now, we talk about food security. Which food security we are talking about in the food supply chain? So food security, we need to understand the food supply chain structure. Then where is the security in taken place? Does make sense? Security could be here. The only problem security, if you have food, in Australia we have Woolworths. I think Pak Bambang pernah ke supermarket, go to Woolworths, fresh food people, they really maintain food security in the supermarket. In terms of packaging, in terms of the product display in the supermarket. and the customer can buy the product for the food. Make sure there are 3 domains. They look at the packaging itself, make sure the product is still fresh. Second, they look at the expiring dates. Now, in Australia, maybe in here we have student ketahanan pangan. Food security, yes, is important. Food supply chain, yes, is important. Number 3, we need to comply with the food safety regulation, not only food security. Food safety regulation in Australia, meaning that if you go to supermarket or any cafeteria or any food retailers, you never seen so many product is expiring dates. If you go to supermarket to buy milk, fresh milk, today is on the 12th of June. If you see that the milk still in the display on the 11th of June, used by 11th of June, and the consumer will complain to the Consumer Protection Agency in Australia because they did not comply with the food safety regulation. Does make sense? So that one particular food security, food safety, we look at use by and expiring dates, and also the packaging itself, and also transportation, the product. When you click and collect in Australia, any groceries, any food, here you got GoFood, right? Gojek, right? In Australia, they follow. They have Uber Eat. Ya, Uber sama seperti Gojek, isn't it? Dia tambah Eat. Here tambah food. All the same. Click, 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 right? And you have agreement with the Uber Eat. You receive the product within 20 minutes or less than 20 minutes, and the product must be fresh. And number 3, the standard operating procedure for Uber Eat, all the driver when they pick up food need to have the proper bag. If this hot food, ice cream, juice, whatever might be, and they need to use the app to determine where's the location. Does make sense? And of course, you know that when you order, they give you code, right? 4 or 5 codes. When you receive and the driver is a 1 minute, right, in front of your house, you open it, something happened, then you can call back again. It's a wrong order. Okay. Now, in terms of the food, in terms of ordering processing, is a one of security we need to look at. In terms of the correct order, freshness, packaging itself, distribution, make sure the food still in a good condition. Okay. So you need to understand the whole structure for the food supply chain. Then food security, food safety, food policy in each, maybe in upstream or maybe in downstream. Now, the next is my project. Anyone who's doing lecture, doing research, we can do food supply chain for pemasok only or for maybe for downstream. Does make sense? Or maybe in the food manufacturing. Okay? Now, when we talk about digital, right, to deal with the food security itself, that's the next few slides I want to talk to you about future research. Yeah? Next slide. Slide berikutnya, please. Supply chain is not only for the product, but also for the service. I'm giving you example for hotel, hospitality, and you have upstream. Okay, so you got first year, you got mattress, food services, you got cement, you got plumber, milling, and downstream, you got business, travel, and hotel brand. You got Novotel, whatever, yeah? And that's a hotel management. So that's a hotel supply chain management. Yes? So supply chain is not only for product, but also for the service. So when we talk about ketahanan pangan, we talk about any kind of the product, the previous slide about food supply chain. Does make sense? Next slide. Slide berikutnya. Okay. If you look at slide berikutnya, ada video presentation kayaknya after halal ini, saya akan tunjukin This is a lot of my research. I published 5 papers about halal food supply chain. They all published Q1 and Q2. So berikutnya UNESA, ada yang mau publish mengenai halal or cosmetics, halal cosmetic supply chain or halal food supply chain or halal beef supply chain in Indonesia. If you look at the background, all my papers already mentioned about that. If you look at the market for halal food, it's now evolving in rapid pace. Now, the global Muslim, you can see, increased by then in 2030, according to the projections, is 2.2 billion. So you can see the demand is there. The definition of halal supply chain, back then, nearly like, 18 years before, the process, planning, implementing, controlling the efficient flow and storage of halal certified product. Because with the halal certification, if you buy any product in the supermarket, they have a halal logo, right? Halal certification. Now, unfortunately, in Australia itself, only certain supermarket they provide the halal product. I spoke to Pak Bambang last time. Any kind of supermarket in the city, unfortunately, is only one. In the ECU campus, it's only 1 or 2, which is the butcher, halal butchers. Because the owner is from Pakistan, the owner is from Bangladesh, the owner also from Malaysia. Because they're selling meat, yeah? So a lot of the communities, most my students from Middle East, they know that is the place they're going to. But unfortunately, some supermarket, they did not comply with the halal, because the storage and the truck, they mix up with the non-halal. Does make sense? So it's not halal integrity. We talk about halal supply chains from the beginning until the consumer take it, make sure that it still remain halal. Chicken itself is halal. For example, you have a logo, packaging good, but the truck combined with non-halal. They put side by side. Does make sense? It's going to be contaminated. Do you think customer know? No. Only auditor know. Even auditor sometimes, maybe the owner said, yes, no problem. Our truck company, they're doing good, right? Only halal product. But these days, they're trying to think about the costing, because the truck is only taking only up to 10 or 20% of the boxes. What about 80% is empty, yeah? For the big truck. So what happened, a lot of retailers, they put all together in one go. It's not good. The way my paper now, I'm doing supply chain project, right? Supply chain collaboration among halal retailers in Australia. They need to work together, and working with halal transport companies to transport the same with halal product. Does make sense? Now, even the product display, Pak Bambang, when you go there in the supermarket, in the deli department, Pak Bambang, kan ada chicken, ya? Even the workers, they don't understand. The person buy chicken using glove, and the other customer want to purchase ham, which is the next aisle, using the same glove. Does make sense? Do you think it's comply with halal integrity? It's no. It's a big no. Last time I got visitor professor from ICRA, University ICRA in Pakistan. And what happened, 4 of them, they don't understand. Sometimes I just bring them to the supermarket. I said to the worker, I said, please, you serving to the other consumer using the same glove. You touch bacon, now you cannot serve with my guests. They really want to buy chicken. Can you change your glove? Sarung, you kan glove kan? You cannot touch that chicken, and you wrap it and give it to them. That makes sense. And then what happened, bule, bule? What you talking about? I said, please, you understand, their Muslim community, halal product, they really want that. Can you change that, the glove? This is my request, please. Otherwise, we leave from the store. Do you understand what I mean? Kalau dia nggak mau ikutin, so we just leave, isn't it? Do not force yourself because you have to stand firm. Then I said to them, oh, thank you so much, all four professors from ICRA in Pakistan, in Karachi campus. Because they really want that. I look at that, it's not right. And then the manager coming. And they said, okay, what's happening? And then she serving me. And she using the new glove. Okay, thank you very much. Okay? And maybe they look at, and then after that, I just having a chat with them. They need to understand the consumer expectation. Yeah? Consumer expectation. It's not big deal. You just really want to follow that request. Do not argue. That simple way. Does make sense? Because that person attitude, you with me? You really need to understand the consumer expectation and consumer requirement. Okay? Now, this is Lodi in 2009. He designed the supply chain for the halal food supply chain. You can see for origin of resource material from farm, water, plants, until domestic is an end use. So if you look at this, so many my papers, a lot of my papers using halal food, halal beef, supply chain, halal integrity. I can send the link to Pak Bambang. It's open access. Student or the lecturer able to read. Yeah. So all my open access papers, I'm more than happy to give Pak Bambang. Nanti in the research meeting, I can give so many electronic, good for references, resources for university. Yes. Okay. Now next slide. Slide berikutnya. Kalau kita bicara mengenai supply chain, if we talk about supply chain, there are two things, integration and the value chain. What is the difference supply chain and value chain? So many researchers, sometimes they mix up. Supply chain integration is a coordinating the physical flow, ensure that the right product part available at various stages of supply chain. That is supply chain integration. On the other hand, the value chain integration is a managing, is beyond that supply chain. It's a managing, including information, the goods, services. Okay? So, the managing, because managing is the beyond that, the coordinating. So, supply chain is a subset. The value chain itself is the managing. The functionality is similar, available at the right price, place, time, cost, quantity, and the highest attention to quality, right? That is a value chain. Does make sense? Because I examined one of doctoral student, I cannot remember, doctoral student from Philippines. The title for the dissertation is totally wrong because the student, the candidate said that value chain. But I said value chain, I don't think so it's a value chain. The title should be supply chain integration because I did not see any framework about value chain integration. That's a terminology need to be revised. Yeah? So slide berikutnya, next slide. Okay. Are you okay? If I'm speaking too fast in English, let me know. Yes? Very good. That's mean give applause to UNESA. Your English capability. That's why when I visit UNESA, is world-class university, right? World-class. You understand with world? World mean you really need to understand non-bahasa lah. Yeah? So you're very good, right, to have that. Now, this is very important. We talk about digital. Yeah? Society 5 model. In the long term, combined connected technology will unlock new mechanisms for creating and distributing value. For food, the food security, for the food resilience, and the food supply chain, for the food safety regulation and food mechanism, etc. Now, the creating value from converging technologies, what technologies out there? Internet of Things, AI, machine learning, digital twin, drone technology, our augmented reality, virtual reality, robotics, 3D printings, yes, those kind of technology, right? So If you look at that, what value? That's a very good framework. I'm really interested to see this for part of the research project. The value, we need to have your skill, need to be up, up to date. The new skill, technical augmented operators, and accelerating sustainable production. Sustainable? Sustainability is a triple bottom line: people, planet, and profit. Yes? Economic, social, and environment, right? So, sustainable production, again, smart processes, and operator. So, the smart is a digital and, unlock that new mechanism. Smart structure, smart innovation. So look, smart is a part of digital itself. Digital orchestration and smart personal new business model, digital experiences and productivity efficiency. This kind, we are facing challenges. What challenges there? If you look at bagian kanan on the right hand side, the challenges I mentioned to Pak Bambang, I think in the university, what is the technology readiness? Are we ready with the new technology now? Yes? These are the challenges. Security, the second element of security. Now, food, not only food for the security, including financial institution, banking security or credit card security, yes? In the past 8 months, can you believe that? So many scammers and hijack for my credit card. Last 6 months, I think sometime in early December, right? Or middle December, something like that. Someone using my credit card purchasing, very branded about 2 a.m. in the morning. And my phone actually is open 24/7, 24/7. Normally, any purchasing using very expensive is as authorization code, yes? And the SMS coming, and I simply no. And then what happened? The person from security officer calling me from MasterCard, and then it's unauthorized. Your credit card is now been blocked. The problem is being blocked. All transactions, direct debit using my credit card, I have to call all the vendors or merchandise because it's a block. I cannot pay, using that credit card. So auto payment, you know what I mean? So I have to call my merchandise. Can you please block this? Can you please use the different card? It's too much hassle. You have to call, sometimes you have to go to internet banking. Now the second problem, the merchandise problem, because with security, I purchased flight or accommodation that time, but there is no authorization to approve, and suddenly approve that the transaction. It's not right. Because this one above 1 million rupees, above 100 Australian dollars, they have to send the SMS code and they approve straight away. And what happened, the next 3 hours, my credit card has been blocked because unauthorized transaction. And yeah, that's we talk about security. The next one is standards. Standards. So everything you produce, any kind of product, services, standards is very important, especially for the integrity and halal food product standards. Interoperability, there's another project we can do research, data science, data management, change management in organization, capability, and culture and diversity. So, what is the left-hand side? Yang bagian kiri, we're talking about the value dimension. In the stakeholders, we have individual, we have society, we have industry, we have firm, and we have factory. Yes? Okay, slide berikutnya. Alright, can you please click that video? Now, this video actually is a very good, we talk about Digital Society 5 for DHL. DHL is the largest, the third-party logistic providers, DHL. Kalau di sini ibaratnya kayak transportation company, ya. Ada Linfox, ada DHL, ada Toll. Can you please?
At DHL Express, DHL Express, we've always strived for excellence, and we do what we do responsibly.
Sustainable logistics is a massive part of everything that we're seeking to achieve.
At DHL Express, we've always strived for excellence, and we do what we do responsibly.
Sustainable logistics is a massive part of everything that we're seeking to achieve. Things moving across the world needs to be increasingly sustainable.
But the challenge is huge. In 2020, our carbon footprint was more than 33 million tonnes of CO2, but we're aiming for zero emissions by 2050. Alongside our efforts to make our premises and our last mile carbon neutral, we're making our aviation sustainable.
Aviation emits over 90% of our total carbon emissions. So if you're going to change your carbon trajectory, you've got to start with sustainable aviation.
We're reducing emissions by refleeting with new fuel-efficient aircraft, implementing a comprehensive fuel optimization program, and committing to sustainable aviation fuels.
The Boeing 777 freighter will produce about 17% less CO2. The materials that are used in the construction are lighter, the engines are much more efficient, and the design of the aircraft produces less drag.
We've introduced 6 standard operations to optimize fuel usage, starting with how we load our aircraft.
We have load control agents putting the heavier containers towards the back of the aircraft and the lower weight containers in the front of the aircraft, thereby reducing fuel burn and therefore also reduce CO2 emissions. And we have introduced fuel-efficient standard operating procedures for our pilots to apply when they fly for our network.
We use different flap settings for takeoff and landing. We have lower cruise speeds, and we taxi with one engine.
Sustainable aviation fuel is fuel that replaces traditional fossil jet fuel, but it allows us to reduce CO2 emissions. The most common is made out of organic crops or organic waste. The other type is produced by renewable energy, solar, wind, and CO2. And this makes it very interesting because we are now using the problem to bring the solution.
Our strategy is to build up long-term partnerships with fuel suppliers in order that we achieve our sustainability target to have 30% of sustainable aviation fuels in 2030.
And we're investing in aircraft that need no aviation fuel at all. The Alice electric cargo E-plane.
Our thinking about Alice was to take a step towards carbon-neutral air transport. Alice carries about 1,200 kilos, but will develop with better design and better engineering to carry more.
We're being transparent about our sustainability measures, which is good news for the environment and our customers.
Sustainability on the priority agenda of our customers has been increasing over time. We offer them the insights by giving them the right reporting. We offer them the options also to ship with us in a climate-friendly way.
Our sustainability journey has begun, and the decisions we're making today will give our children a tomorrow.
about society supply chain 5.0, right? Now, when you look at DHL now has introduced, decarbonization. We talk about the level of CO2. When you look at sustainable development goals, we want to achieve zero emission by 2050. So 25 years to go, right? Now DHL has introduced with the electrical plane, right? Can you see Alice? Electrical plane. Now, with the BYD, the electric vehicles, I'm sure actually Surabaya has several electric vehicles surrounding there, including Tesla. The only thing I'm trying with the electric vehicle, autonomous vehicle with the autopilots, the cruise control autopilots when you drive, when you click once, the autopilot is on. Okay, last time I did try, but in Australia it's illegal. You have to pegang setirnya. Kalau di Amerika memang benar-benar is autopilot. You can bring your mocha, you can bring your hot chocolate or coffee, whatever, right? But last time in the highway in Australia, no police. I'm a little bit naughty. I pressed one because I really want to try. With 100 kilometer with the highway, right? And then press the autopilot is on. It just completely accurate, right? And completely accurate is just within the lane. Within the lane? But completely I did not touch that. But and my wife said that just be careful. And what happened? If you press brake, its autopilot is cancelled. It's the same with the cruise control, right? If you hold the steer and the steer you just right there, it's cancel the autopilot. Okay, that's the way Tesla doing it like that. Now the only dangerous problem why Australia does not allow to do that, because with the road safety commissionaries in Australia, because this still is not under legislative yet, right? I'm not quite sure in Indonesia. You cannot. Please don't try with autopilot, especially in Surabaya, isn't it? So many. There's a motorcycle, a pedestrian. It's completely different, right? Now, next slide berikutnya. If you look at the next slide, this is a future research. It's good for all students if you are the third year or maybe you are a researcher. You want to know about the future research in the supply chain society 5.0. Regardless about food, any kind of the sector or agriculture products or manufacturing, what is the future research supply chain society 5? The first one is the digital twin. So research in context supply chain 5, society 5 is likely to focus on several key areas. The first one is challenges. We look at sustainable, we look at efficiency, responsible resource extraction. Now, digital twins for E2E, which is end-to-end supply chain feasibility. Developing and implementing digital twin is usually for, if you want to do PhD, you want to do digital twin for supply chain. Ya, bagi Bapak Ibu yang mau ambil S3, biasanya this project can be done for 2 until 3 years, right? For if you do your PhD, mostly 3 years, it's good to choose the digital twin. So digital twin technology to create virtual replica of operation. This allows for real-time monitor, simulation, and optimization processes. So anyone from engineering, anyone from Fakultas MIPA, because you know about simulation, you know about optimization, you know about mathematical modeling, you know about quantitative measures, right? So engineering, Fakultas Economics, or maybe Fakultas MIPA, or maybe Ketahanan Pangan, you know that the digital twin, leading to increased productivity, reduce environmental impact, for the example, and that is a digital twin. Okay, next slide berikutnya. Number 2, the future research is a real time. We're dealing with data streaming. If you, for Fakultas MIPA and then Facultas of Engineering, with the data science, yeah? So the real-time data streaming is beyond data science. implement system for real-time data streaming and processing. This allows for continuous update and monitoring of digital twin, enabling timely for decision making. So that's number 2. This one usually for 2 and 3 years project. Yes, it's 2 and 3 years project. Number 3, visualization and user interface. You can do your master. If you want to do master by research or master degree, master thesis, you can make it 12 months for this project, visualization and user interface. This one actually takes longer because you need to integrate Internet of Things, the sensors, to monitor the real-time data. You really need to have very good in the technology mindset and your logical thinking, your novelty of research, these 3 years. Currently, Pak Bambang at ECU, we also offer the scholarship for that. So ECU provide the Doctor of Philosophy scholarship. Nanti I will send it to you, Pak Bambang. Anyone want to apply? Yeah. Menghemat uang negara, ya. Pakai uang Australia, yes. Yes, of course. Kan Ibu Sri Mulyani bilang apa? Kita memang lagi efisiensi, correct? Yes. So if you have opportunity scholarship using ASEAN Development Bank, Monbuso from Japan, Australian, yeah, and the 4 awards, yes, professor, you got scholarship there in Canberra. So use that opportunity. And the good news is, of course, you really want to come back to Indonesia, right, to develop Indonesia. But if you got scholarship somewhere, sometimes you would like to stay in Australia, it's up to you. But, you know, Pak Presiden said, please, memajukan Indonesia. Yeah, isn't it? Now the next one, integration. This one, I like this topic. I want to supervise research project about this topic because this project is related with the food security, which is our main focus in relation integration IoT, sensor with the digitalized in dealing with the food security. Because the sensor can detect any kind of the food, detect any kind of the product is used, its expiring dates, and then they can inform the sensors, you know, all the data, and you can inform the retailers or consumer, or maybe you can just reduce the price because in the next 1 week also the product need to be out because the expiry date is on the 18th of June. You really need to understand the product need to be displayed in the front and not on the back because consumer really take, you know, and if you have a smart customers, they're really looking at, to me, normally I purchase any kind of food, especially food or even medicine, right? I really check the expiry date and use by. Everything we consume. So in my pantry kitchens, Pak Bambang, before I travel to Surabaya, because I throw all the rapid antigen tests for the COVID because it's expired. Yeah, you know rapid antigen test for COVID, I throw it away because the expiry date is 2024 already. Now this year 2025. So, and then I still thinking where I have to dispose them because I cannot throw in the recycle bin. You know what I mean? Not to the general waste because in Australia we really need to think about it that we got 3 bin system. General waste, yeah, and then recycle bin, and the 3rd bin is food and organic. Jadi any you like cooking, any kind of you eat apple or ada jeruk kulitnya kupas and everything you put in the 3rd bin. Food and organic waste. You with me? That is the 3rd bin. Do you have in Surabaya? Yes? You still have, right? Not really. Okay. Now you can talk to the council or maybe talk to the city of Surabaya lah. Yeah. Now the next slide berikutnya. And machine learning. Now, this one is a little bit high fancy technology. Machine learning, AI predictive. Basically, machine learning and AI to predict, right? Jadi untuk bisa memforecast. Jadi machine learning bisa menganalisa historical and real-time data. Pretty much what is a predicting future trend, optimizing processes and providing actionable insight. This is the higher level, but you really need to do very good methodology, usually 3 years. This is 3 years project. This one, you can do master degree. Fakultas Economic, Engineering, or Fakultas Ketahanan Pangan, you can do continuous improvement for the food supply chain, or feedback loop, or food security itself, or food resilient supply chain itself. Because you really need to make operational judgment, what continuous improvement using a total quality management, quality control, quality management in relation with the food, or in that context, because I did a project about mining operation, for example. Now, the security and data privacy, this is about 2 years project. You can do your master degree with this, okay? Implement robust security to protect sensitivity of data, consumer data, etc. Includes encryptions, compliance, data privacy regulation. So, you know, these days is very critical moment, because so many companies sometimes they breach with the data privacy because they share the consumer data to other business partners. Say, for example, moderator, right, is a business partners, and I got very good major customers, and because I want to support him, I share all my consumer data, major customer data to him. So many companies, unfortunately, they breach with the compliance with the data privacy regulation. Yeah, because we don't consent permission, we're not allowed to share. Now, next slide berikutnya. Okay, training and adoption. This is good for Fakultas Economic. If you want to do training, personnel, how to use, interpret the digital twin, what kind of training. This is Pak Bambang when we apply Koneksi. In the next 1 hour meeting, we can sit down, what is the next opportunity for Koneksi? Applying for the grants, what area we can do, what research, the strength research capability dari UNESA yang akan kita bisa pakai di aplikasi. Because in order to win the grants, the Indonesia institution need to show very outstanding research capability. If research capability UNESA, for example, all the scholars very good, and we work together with myself to apply Koneksi, that's a very good chance to get that. Okay, Koneksi is a collaboration bilateral between Australia and Indonesia government. Okay, that's a Koneksi. They give funding, Australian dollars, they give funding 150 Australian dollars, sekitar 1,5 M. Indonesia provide another 150 juta. Is it 150 juta? Yeah, about 1.5 million, something like that, for one project. They have a different level. So it's a bilateral. And the next level, they provide 250,000 from Australian government. Okay? The requirement is Australia need to work with Indonesia institution. Yeah? So you cannot from Indonesia institution apply by itself. You really need to have Australian partners. Australia need to work with Indonesia partners. Yes? Namanya bilateral, isn't it? If you look at chair, left and right must be balanced. That makes sense? That's the work, how it works with bilateral. Okay? Monitoring and maintenance, again, this is 2 years. Monitoring maintenance is a very quick project. Human capital is for Faculty of Social Sciences, political sciences you can, or faculty of economic and business. What is a human? I think last night we had opportunity to have the dean, yeah? Is it dean, yeah? Faculty Economic Sumber Daya Manusia, Human Capital Development, yeah? This skill set, training, and this is very good. We really need to get primary data for Indonesia because it's big sample size for the human capital development. Next slide. Slide berikutnya. All right, so this is the reference list. So what I just want to tell you, in relation for my publication, my research, for food supply chain, so I published more than 11 papers when I look at in the morning. So 11 papers about food supply chain, 5 papers about halal food supply chain, including halal beef supply chain, from my doctorate student working with me, 2 of them from UITM, 1 from Indonesia. And the next 7 papers about beef supply chain, papers published in the Q1 and Q2. So in total, I published more than 127 papers when you look at Google, but across the supply chain. But yesterday, actually, when we had a chat, every month I have to publish 1 or 2 papers. So on average for a year, actually between 18 and 24 papers. So with UNESA, what I really encourage you to do, please, we work together. If you look at my list of publication, I never write by myself. I can write by myself only maybe 3 or 4 papers, right? Only solo author, 1 author. But if you look at, like Pak Moderator bilang, I work so many with Indonesia scholars, yes? Because a lot of Indonesia authors there, Indonesia name. Because the beauty for me when I visit Indonesia, Surabaya, Diponegoro, Undip, Semarang, Jogja, UNY, UPI, whatever, Unpad, Unsri, Palembang, because this is the thing you collaborate and you produce good papers and good publication and good research. And in the end, your university can claim this is my world-class university, yes? And this is for international accreditation. And this is something you can show with the Scopus output bisa mengalahkan IPB atau ITB. So that's impian, isn't it? So we need to work hard and work smart, to work together. Collaboration is the key. Number 3 is novelty. So in the afternoon, I would like to share about that, about the workshop, okay, and then coaching. And we have 1 hour meeting as well after this session. So next slide, you can see this is list of my publication, all Q1, yeah, all Q1. You know, ABDC is Australian Business Dean Council, and all Q1, yeah. So please, from UNESA, and then Q1, Q2, yeah. So this is from this is social media paper, and about the food supply chain. This is I'm leading the paper about Industry 4. That's 2022. Okay, ECQ1. Next slide. Okay, so this is the food paper. 2019, 6 years, but so many papers cited my paper. You know cited? Dia pakai saya punya paper. Jadi bisa populer seperti itu. So citasi. Ini Pak Ilyas Masudin mengenai halal dari Halal Technology on Halal Logistic Performance dari University Muhammadiyah Malang. Sekarang dia dekan. Ya. Pak Ilyas itu anak bimbingan saya. Ya. Kita dapat grant dari Manuscript atau Dikti atau apa gitu, saya lupa. Kan dulu ada Manuscript ya. Manuscript, Dikti, whatever, same source ya. Ujungnya uang negara juga, isn't it? This, yeah, they work very hard because that time during COVID, yeah, you with me? Sampai bermalam-malam, sampai midnight. Midnightnya waktu saya jam 1 pagi. Kita beda 1 hour different dengan Surabaya dengan Malang. Sama dengan waktu Bali, okay? So this one about beef. Q1. And this one, British Food Journal, beef. Ketahanan pangan, ini yang targetnya nanti. Saya bilang Pak Bambang, ini targetnya. British Food Journal is Q1. Dari Indonesia hanya 3 universities yang tembus ke sini. IPB, Undip, saya lupa satu lagi. Nanti berikutnya UNESA. Karena ini food. Karena saya tahu Emerald Insight, saya tahu trik-triknya untuk bisa ke Q1. Karena saya sering banyak publish. Sudah lebih dari 15 tahun saya publish. Dari 2013, ya. 2010 ada paper. Nah, ini Q1, ya. Next slide. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. So we have a Q&A session. Please ask so many questions. So the beauty for today's session, we are all hybrid, yeah? So we have on campus and we also have online participants. So please, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer any feedback. Thank you so much. So thank you again for having me today's session. So I'll just return back to the moderator. So Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Give a round of applause to Mr. Ferry for the insightful and inspiring presentation. Now we would like to open the floor for Q&A. Please raise hand if you have a question. Who would like to begin, maybe? Okay, 1, 2. Oh, many people. Okay. Please.
Hi, my name is Aisa. I am a culinary student. It's really nice to meet you. Before I attended this class, to be honest, I thought we were going to talk more about the agriculture side of it, but it turns out you're more in the food supply chain and stuff like that. One of the things that I want to talk about is the food sustainability. Because I'm a culinary student, I focus more on the biological side. For example, GMO, genetically modified organisms. I want to ask you about that. Do you have your own standing? Because I understand it's a bit controversial, like the GMO thing. A lot of people agree with it. Some people don't agree with it. But it is a step towards, sustainability. I don't really understand much of it, so maybe you can give a bit insight about what is GMO and what are the effects of it does it have, and if it even is relevant for sustainability. Thank you.
My colleague from Newcastle Uni and then my colleague from RMIT, they have their own school of food science and technology, mostly food science, but with the GMO, it's a pro and cons for the sustainable development goals, which is a sustainable development nature. Now, what I understand much of it, because it's not my area for the GMO, I'm not from the food science scholar. My understanding in relation for the sustainability, they look at the economic and the environment, the impact. That two things they're looking at in the higher level. But what is the specific itself, what is in line with the environmental impact, what is that? So I completely have no idea because I need to check with the case by case. But my understanding is 60-40. So 40% pretty much, yes, for the sustainability, and 60% not quite sure. But again, this particular, you really need to comply with the food policy and then food safety security for that. Because people understand with the sustainability, but however, what about the food security in the nature of food safety regulation in the context when the consumer, communities, and the stakeholders, and what is that of it, right? So you really need to look at case and context itself, because for the communities no, I don't think so it's a sustainable nature, but for the stakeholder, maybe for the shareholder, or because it's the most sustained, and then that GMO will be the tick the box for them. But What about the community consume that, you know, kind of that in the long life? You know what I mean? Because the food is something you need to consume, right? So you really need to look at, in terms of food science itself, whether that is a human, what is a, can consume that, what is implication of it. So that's something I really want to answer. But in the what the GMO itself, in terms of the scholar for the expertise, is something a professor from food science or school of science can answer that. So I can answer for the sustainability part of it. Very good.
Okay, thank you. Next question, maybe. Okay. One of the Ayu mungkin.
Yeah, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Ayu from Digital Agribusiness from Food Security Faculty. I just want to ask you one question about SME, small medium enterprise. In Indonesia, the most of industry, more than 16% in SME. Then I want to ask you about SME. How can SME switch in supply chain? Then seperti yang kita tahu bahwa biaya transaksi, cost transaction is higher. Apalagi di agriculture is so much cost transaction. How can this thing is switch in supply chain? Okay.
My doctoral student, so she's from Vietnam. So she did the small medium enterprises related with the cost transaction. So the small medium enterprises, the case study in Vietnam. So you can have a look at the paper published in 2018, implementing the supply chain and logistic management in a SME relation for the food. Now, food retailers or food suppliers or food processing, so it depends. Majority for the small medium enterprises, they all only independent, because if you have the multinational corporation MNC or large organization, majority they have their own raw material or supplier, or they have their own logistic service providers, right? For the small medium enterprises, pretty much, you know, they have a family business, they have only like few workers there, you know, maybe food retailers, you know. Now, the implementation, the three things what I suggest in the output for the research is, number one is utilize the supply chain collaboration, because small medium enterprises, you really need to go out there talking to other people, talking to other business partners, potential collaboration, because with small medium enterprises, you really cannot work by yourself. Okay, so the other upstream and downstream supply chain, they need to work together to run the supply chain, to run the operation, to sell the product to the final consumers. Number one. Number two, in terms of the cost reduction or the transaction cost for the small medium enterprises, this is something related with the Faculty of Economic and Business research. They really need to do what we call lean principle to reduce any kind of waste. Because small medium enterprises, if you keep doing so much waste, it's gonna be high cost for the SMEs. So they really want to implement lean principle to reduce inventory, to reduce defective product, to reduce waste, right? Number three. Now, number three, this is something you really need to include that, because since you are a digital, yeah, agribusiness scholar, yeah, Ibu, and then you really want to implement that digitalization, you know, something, because now we are in the digital era, okay? So in order to implement digital space, you need to understand their understanding, the implementation of digital itself, and the use, and whether or not they're ready. Because if you look at small medium enterprises, you know, somewhere in desa, or who knows, they know very well about the mobile technology or platform, who knows. But if some of them, they have no idea, so you really need to adopt the training, understanding for them, yeah? So this is something maybe related to Pak Bambang, maybe applying for Koneksi. Because Indonesia actually has so much SME. And one of the stage of the research, how we build the capacity building training for SME in East Java, right? To understand about that. So maybe Fakultas Ketahanan Pangan kerjasama FAB, we can apply for that. SMEs, yeah? Mungkin dicatat itu, mungkin saya takut lupa. Now it's very good. I like that. That's number 3, yeah? So pretty much technology usage, cost reduction using a lean principle, and supply chain collaboration. Okay. If you look at the last 2, I published maybe 4 or 5 papers already. Just have a look and read. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe another question?
Ada yang dari online? Bisa tahu online berapa banyak pesertanya? Anyone can tell me? How many from online? 30 students. Okay. I thought like 300 students. No. Okay. It's okay. Very good. Anyone? Yes.
Check. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Muhammad Imam Asari from Biotechnology Program. So really great to join this insightful program today. And my question is about the food security. So most of us really talking about food security, but actually what we all need is about the food independence actually. So especially in Indonesia, all we know is if food security is already a program for our government, but how we can develop or we can go to the food independence, especially for the rural area, for example, it's really difficult. And how the easiest way to do the supply chains to get or we can achieve the food independence. Thank you very much.
Very good. Okay, so 3 things you really want to look at: the food independence. So food independence, maybe we can just say that the connotation of the food independence might be slightly different, you know, the way they interpret that. My understanding is what you mentioned about food security. So the big domain is a food supply chain. Yeah? And then you got pillar. So the first pillar is a food security, and second pillar you mentioned about food independence, you know, implemented in the rural or villages. My understanding is the rural villages, the attitude is very easy to communicate and to coordinate with other supply chain trading partners. The way we need to approach them, slightly we need to make sure they understand enough for the supply chain rantai pasok. Because their skill and their knowledge may be so limited. Yes? So limited. So then the way you approach them, make sure do not give so much theory for them. Does make sense? The capacity building for the farmers, because the skill, understanding, and the terminology is so limited for the farmers. Yang desa-desa, isn't it? So the way you do that, you approach them and then give the pelatihan more practical way. Memberikan simulasi and aktivitas. And then you can differentiate what's an independent, what is a supply chain. You really need to give the good example for them. And you really need to tell them, this is the output, the tangible benefits for you if you implement that. And that's something you really need to do is a simple way. And number 3, the way you approach, this is I implemented Pak Bambang where I went to villages or rural area in Australia. The majority rural area in Australia, They not even until junior high school. Bule, some of them sometime they finish year 6 SD. Some of them finish maybe high school and they're not going to universities. Right? And they got big farm, kangaroo farms, strawberries. And when I interviewed them, when I did survey, I'm so sad to see that in terms of the education level, right? Now, when we are in the education as a professional, you really need to understand your audience, your student, yes? Yeah? Participants. What's the point? You always give this and that and they can't get it. Waste your time, isn't it? And that is something you really need to understand. And number 2, you really need to approach them slightly. You need to tell them there's an input, there's a process, there's an output. That's a simple way. But you really need to tell them that's a benefit for you. This is something you really need to do. This, and that. Do not focus too much theory, unfortunately. Okay? It's not worth it. But how you convert the theory, what you got somewhere in the classroom, to be in a practical way when you explain to them. Does that make sense? That's very important. So trust me, if you follow me when I visit in rural area, right? And then I really need to adjust very quickly about their attitude and their behavior and their style. That's a beauty for me. Wherever I'm going, I really, really can adjust very quickly. There's so many of my colleagues said that, oh, Ferry, you are so good. I really like traveling with you. Oh, are you sure? If traveling with me, you have less than 4 hours in day 1. You really need to be strong. And number 2, you really need to go to swimming pool at least 40 minutes. 40 minutes. You can't simply go swimming pool only 10 minutes. 40 minutes. And then must be professional swimming pool. The Olympic size. Not the hotel. Look, the hotel is the 120, 110. This and that is just waste my time. Yeah, this is for recreation. It's not for my exercise. My exercise, I have to do proper exercise. I have to do proper exercise in the gym or in a cardio. Because it's a professional coach. It's like that. In Australia, when they go to the Olympic Games, back then in Paris, I brought them more than 81 international athletes from Australia, majority from swimming. Okay? They have to follow because what happened? Discipline, right? Okay, check in a hotel, can't go anywhere. Go to the briefing, blah, 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 and I got all the standard operating procedure. All the professional, the international athlete, because I'm a logistician. I'm a logistician because people is very hard to be managed. Yeah, it's very professional, and I professional coach for Olympic Games. Now, if you have a plan in 2032, will be in Brisbane. Yeah, Pak Bambang, Brisbane Olympic Games. The next one will be in USA. Hopefully, it's not like become problem because not so many protests, isn't it? In LA. And the next after LA, back to Australia. Yeah. Okay. Any question? Thank you.
Maybe it's the last question.
Oh, the last question.
The last question.
Good morning, everyone. My name is sorry, from Magister Program of Management. So, first of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunities and thank you so much for the great explanation from you, sir. So I interest in your explanation before that you said supply chain to be coordinated and digital must connect to technologies. That's why I have two questions. If you, yep. The first question is, what are the potential impacts of emerging technologies on the future sustainability and resilience of halal supply chains that you said before, in the context of Industry 5.0? And the second question is, how can we understand the digitalization and advanced analytics that help predict and manage market demand for halal products? Thank you.
Now, converging, in terms of converging and emerging technology in society, Industry 5.0. So pretty much, for example, number one is the three technology. The first one is AI, machine learning, and deep learning, right? So the first cluster is AI, machine learning, and deep learning to predict the future trends from the data. Now, my project about the port, um, global logistic disruption. You know the port problem with the congestion. You know congestion? Ada kapal yang stuck kalau di port, ya. What happen if the bridge collapse, for example, the container, the trucks, the ship stuck somewhere in the middle, or sometimes the ship actually stuck in the port and then waiting, to be uploaded, for example. Now, this something for global supply chain or logistic disruption can be done using AI machine learning to predict the historical trend, what looks like the incident, and what kind of decision making for that, for the global or port operation. That's number one, the emerging technology in Industry 5.0. Now, the second Industry 5.0 in terms of emerging technologies about digital twins, when I presented. And number three is I like the idea integration IoT with the sensor. I'm giving you example. Australia bagian barat, Western Australia itu very popular mining. You know mining? Like Pilbara, Karata, what happened? When they go to the ground, right? Before drone, they use people to go to the ground to capture the data, and then the data can be sent to geologists. Now, in the past 2 years, they use a drone technology to go to underground with the sensor to capture what's going on the ground, like 3 kilometers or 2 kilometers from the ground, right? Using the drone. And then the data can be shared to geologists. Does that make sense? Because to reduce the risk of the people. Now, the same thing in Indonesia. Many months ago, submarine, more than 100 people dead. You need to use the emerging technology with the subsea, kind of the sensor drone. Don't use human. Look, 100 people. It's serious, right? So Indonesia need to think about it, about the level of risk. Can you see that how many kilometers from the water, underwater? Very dangerous. And use the technology, use the sensor, capturing, right? And that's something we need you. Yes? I'm sure Indonesia has so many smart students, so many smart professionals, right? Working hard, disciplined. Don't waste your time with the chatting, social media, gossip, and then ngomongin orang lain, gossip, whatever. Yeah? You waste your time. Utilize your productivity. You know what happened after dinner yesterday, Pak Bambang? So nice dinner. Beautiful. Thank you. Karena after dinner, I spend the time in the hotel, I write the paper. Review paper. Don't waste your time because I look at SCTI sinetron. SCTV, this. Okay? Dangdut, no problem. That's my entertainment, isn't it? Like this morning, there's a one dangdut, isn't it? Before the breakfast, no problem. I can do my writing. But when there's so many synchron, like, screaming, whatever, no, waste my time. I concentrate with my paper. But if I really want to enjoy relaxation, whatever, no research. For example, doing swimming, like 6 o'clock in the morning, really swimming. 40 minutes maximum. If not enough, jogging, lari. Okay, sampai 15,000 steps. If not 15,000, not good. That's my target. Step, when you walk, doing cardio, doing gymnastic, at least 8,000 steps. It's a 45-minute session. It's 8,000 steps. If you do 2 hours, it's a multiply, you can make a 16,000 steps. Now, the second question, I think what is the second question after emerging technology? What was the second question?
Can you repeat your question? Yeah, the second question maybe. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, the use of the data science or data analytics in supply chain for the decision making. Two things you really need to have. You need to have the big data, primary data, big data, historical data, time series data. So, and then from that, you have data science and analytics. Because with the data, what you really need to do, you need to analyze that, right? Now, after that analysis of data, the next step is for decision making. That is the supply chain analytics. Now, I created one unit subject, Pak Bambang, at Edit Kawan, supply chain analytics. And now, we have new course program, business analytics. Ya, nanti mungkin ini ada dekannya nggak, fakultas ekonomi atau fakultas MIPA? Ada. Pasti ada, mungkin ada fakultas MIPA. Itu data science, ya kan, matematik, stats ada, ya bisa menjadi business analytics atau analytics kedepannya untuk fakultas MIPA. Ya, jadi perlu kita melakukan strategic benchmarking, Pak Bambang. Saya waktu bikin new program, new course, saya itu sampai kerja tuh 2 malam. Cari sampai strategic benchmarking, kita pilih 2 university Amerika, 2 university yang ada di Eropa, termasuk United Kingdom, dan 2 di Asia. Saya bikin sampai A3 paper, bikin strategic benchmarking untuk the new program study. Karena kalau kita nggak ada dasarnya, how we justify, how we know the market analysis. You know the market analysis? Kalau kita bikin program nggak ada marketnya, what's the point? Banyak sekali university, saya nggak sebutin University Australia, banyak prodi yang tutup karena studentnya dari 30 jadi 25, 25 jadi 10, 10 jadi 4. Tutup. Jadi Senat atau University Council close. Enak aja bilang close, kasihan beberapa para dosen. Nggak lama kemudian dikirim email paket redundancy, early redundancy. Ya, so that's why in Australia now, even in US, as academic we have to do 3 things, 3 dhamma. Ya, unfortunately, if you focus on the teaching, kalau no student, no job. Kalau kita do teaching and research, and then ada juga yang ketiga, pengabdian atau community engagement, if we doing 3 things, we save for our job. Yeah. Second option, if professor only research, nggak ada hibah bersaing, nggak ada grants, nggak ada gaji buat mereka, unfortunately. So we need to do both teaching and research in order to take that job security. Unfortunately, in Australia right now. Jadi, kalau saya melakukan 3-tiganya, 3 things. I love teaching because I love student. I mentioned to my colleague, no student, no job for you, unfortunately. Don't complain, okay? If you teaching, Don't say, oh, I'm teaching this. You know, student is your entertainment. You know, you're just teaching in proper job for you. And then do research and publish. Do research and then talk to the industry, talk to the government, any kind of project we can work together, any kind of paper we can work together. That's why I'm here to visit Indonesia very often every year. Sometimes Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, you know. And then that's China, Hong Kong, you know, and United Kingdom because that's the way we can work together. Okay? A serious thing we have to do. The final recipe is commitment. Jangan omong doang. Omong doang nggak ada dikerjain percuma. You have to do it, right? And then when you do this, you really have a principle, commit. Okay? And that's why people trust you. Does that make sense? Whatever you do, you work, right? This is my final message to all students here, right? You are so lucky and you're truly blessed because you're here. Because I'm coming from Perth, via Singapore, Surabaya for UNESA. And I said to Pak Bambang, please, student, saya ngadain guest lecture because I want to share my knowledge. Yeah, I want to share my knowledge not only for students, for the staff, and how we work for the papers together. Okay, so this is something special for you. Yeah, look how many students in Indonesia, how many students in the world, and they don't have any opportunity. Even though you are in the final exam, right? Period. But you're here, very good to have this. So final message is all the best to you, all students, and good luck with your study. Make sure you finish on time. Ya, jangan menjadi student yang mahasiswa abadi yang wah jadi problem maker, cari bimbingan, blaming this. Complete your study on time, okay? And focus, work hard and work smart. Ya, dalam arti kalau work smart, kalau adik-adik pandai, tetapi punya attitude yang lazy, yang malas, no, doesn't work that way. You have to do both. You have both in terms of work hard and work smart. Yes, in order to complete your study. And all the best with your study and then good luck with your career. And please, minal aidin, mohon maaf lahir batin kalau ada kesalahan. Ya. Jadi sukses selalu. And saya kembali ke moderator. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, that's conclude our guest lecture and discussion today. Thank you, Mr. Ferry. Thank you to all participants to your attention and engagement. And I would like to return session back to Master of Ceremony. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you for the time, and please give applause for the Mr. G for the wonderful insight. Then may I invite the honorary Vice Rector to give a token of appreciation toward the Mr. G to step forward first and do a group photo. Yes. Okay, then I kindly ask Prof. Nining as the Dean of Faculty of Cyber Security and Prof. Nadi, the IP Director, to step forward and to do a group photo. And the Alf of Vice Dean. Okay, and please take the picture with the audience and facing the forward. Okay. Please the audience to to stand out. Okay. Then the participant may sit and orderly and scan the QR code to do participants for today agenda. And the lecturer may comes to third floor to bring the certificate for today agenda. The lecturer may go to the third floor. And to continue the next agenda. Okay, thank you for today, and please remain orderly as you leave the hall. Until we meet again, thank you. Have a good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.